Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to completely demystify wealth creation. We are breaking down exactly how it works by connecting two incredibly powerful forces. We've got the hidden psychology of self-control on one hand and the mathematical magic of compound interest on the other. Because, it turns out that building wealth, it isn't just about spreadsheets and numbers. It actually starts right inside your own head.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The delayed gratification secret. 2. How compound interest works. 3. Thinking like the wealthy. 4. Real-world wealth builders. And 5. Starting financial education early. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The delayed gratification secret.
So the foundation of all financial success actually starts with human psychology. Let me ask you a very direct question. Would you rather have one treat right now or two treats later? Now, if you're anything like me, you've probably already eaten the first one. But this question gets to the very heart of a universally understood concept called delayed gratification.
This exact question was actually the basis of the famous Stanford marshmallow test. Conducted back in the 1970s by psychologist Walter Mischel, preschoolers were brought into a room and tempted with a marshmallow or a pretzel. The rule was super simple. They could eat the one treat immediately, or if they simply waited an agonizing 15 minutes without eating it, they'd be rewarded with a second treat.
But what's really fascinating here is the long-term impact. The researchers didn't just stop in the 70s. A 1990 follow-up study actually tracked these exact same kids down, and they discovered that the children who successfully distracted themselves to delay gratification, the ones who managed to wait for those two treats, well, they had significantly higher SAT scores later in life. That ability to delay an immediate reward for a bigger future payoff, it's a fundamental building block of success.
Section 2. How compound interest works. So moving from the psychology of delayed gratification over to its mathematical equivalent, we first need to understand basic interest. Imagine lending your absolute favorite toy to a friend for a week. When they return it, they give you your toy back plus an extra toy just as a thank you. That extra toy, that's interest. It's the reward you earn for letting someone else, like, say, a bank, use something that belongs to you.
But there are two types of interest, and this is where it gets good. Simple interest is calculated only on your original savings. So if you save $100 and earn $3 a year, you just get $3 every single year. But compound interest? Oh, that is the secret sauce. The crucial point here is that compound interest means you are earning interest on your original savings and on the interest you've already earned. Your money is literally sitting there, quietly making more money all on its own.
Just look at how this plays out. If you save $100 at 3% compound interest, year 1 gives you $103. By year 3, you're at $109.27. By year 5, $115.93. Now, I know the early differences look tiny, almost insignificant, but because you're earning interest on your interest, that growth curve accelerates dramatically over time.
And watch what happens when we factor time into the equation. If a child saves $100 at age 10 at 5% compound interest, by age 30, it's worth $265. But if they wait until age 20 to save that exact same $100, by age 30, it's only worth $163. Starting 10 years earlier more than doubles the growth, and you didn't even have to add a single extra penny. Time is absolutely the most powerful ingredient in wealth creation.
Section 3. Thinking like the wealthy. Okay, so we have the psychology down and we understand the math. But what are the actual communication habits affluent households use? Well, first and foremost, wealthy parents teach their kids this undeniable distinction: assets versus liabilities. Assets, things like stocks, property, or businesses, they put money back into your pocket over time. Liabilities, like designer clothes or super expensive cars, they depreciate and lose value the absolute second you buy them. Prioritizing investments over consumption, it completely changes a family's financial trajectory.
And this mindset also translates directly to how they view their goals. A middle-class mindset often asks, how can I save $10? Now, to be clear, there is absolutely no shame in saving. But the wealthy mindset teaches vision and bigger thinking, asking instead, how can I earn $10,000? They focus heavily on creating value and protecting their energy so they can think bigger.
I just love this quote from Kiwi families. When a child asks for something expensive, the default response for most people is often, we can't afford that. But wealthy families, they totally flip the script. They say, how could we earn enough to buy that?
This reframes money entirely. It goes from being a limitation to being a dynamic tool for problem solving and business building.
Section 4. Real-world wealth builders.
Now that we've got the mindset dialed in, let's look at some actual practical tools used to build wealth today. Take a look at this number, 15 to 17%. No, this isn't some crazy crypto scam. This is the near risk-free nominal yield of Nigerian treasury bills in 2026. They are fully backed by the federal government, and remarkably, the interest is effectively paid to you upfront because you're buying the bills at a discount.
Now, you might have seen some flashy headlines out there saying you need 50 million naira to access the primary market. But the truth? Retail investors can actually start with around 100,000 naira. The steps are incredibly straightforward. First, open an account with a broker or a SEC-regulated app. Next, pick a tenor, like 91, 182, or 364 days. Then, place your bid. And finally, make the crucial decision to roll it over at maturity to keep that compound interest engine roaring along.
But hey, if managing T-bills feels a little too hands-on for you, there are other tools out there, like mutual funds. The Children Investment Fund, for example, allows low-income investors to pool their money together. It invests in a diversified portfolio of money markets and equities to outpace inflation. It's specifically designed to secure children's future education and healthcare needs, and it does it affordably.
Section 5. Starting financial education early. The reality is, all of these tools are completely useless if we don't pass the knowledge down to the next generation. But financial education has to scale appropriately with a child's age. I mean, you're not going to teach a toddler about treasury bills, right? From ages 3 to 7, just focus on the basics, the simple difference between needs and wants. From 8 to 12, you can introduce allowances and the habit of saving before spending. And by the time they are teens, they should be opening their own savings accounts, tracking expenses, and understanding the basics of investing.
So here are some incredibly practical ways to make this real in your own home. First, let them listen in on grown-up money conversations. It totally normalizes financial literacy. You can also use a spend, save, and give jar system for some great visual learning. But my absolute favorite trick? Pay them interest on their unspent allowance. Seriously, if you pay a child 5% a month on the money they don't spend, the totally abstract concept of compound interest becomes tangibly real right before their very eyes. Which leaves us with this final thought for today. Wealth creation really is a mix of holding off on the marshmallow today so your interest can compound for tomorrow. So what financial seed are you going to plant today? Are you going to buy a productive asset? Will you open a savings account with your kids? Or will you simply choose to delay gratification just one more time? The choice is entirely yours. But remember, time is ticking. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you next time.